YouTube, welcome. It's been about 4 or 5 months since my last YouTube video, and here we are. Well, in recent events, the PSE Mach 30 got Bow of the Year from Outdoor Life. What does that mean? For most people, an opportunity to complain. For me, it's an opportunity for a video. Why? Because I've had the Mach 30, or at least I've been fortunate enough to have the PSE Mach 30 since early August of 2023. First hunt I took on with that bow was with our boy SG Holmes. Shout out to Stewie. It was Ohio whitetail, early rut, pre-rut, whatever you want to call it, and I dropped my my 10 point with that. Love that bow just from that instance, just from that experience, that hunt, the feeling of having Stu and my father-in-law there to kind of celebrate and just sort of like take a sigh of relief from a little bit of whitetail prep, you know, changing some things up at the farm this year, really getting involved and kind of branching my knowledge out of whitetail, which, you know, you all know is pretty non-existent. So felt good about that. That was a big build upon year for me in that arena. So obviously Mach 30 has a special place in my heart because of that. So fast forward the calendar a little bit and we're going into January, late January, 20-something Texas axis hunt. Again, go with my boy Stu. We're probably only there a couple hours. Shoot my first axis. I was super thankful. Didn't think I'd get the opportunity to even go on an axis hunt, let alone shoot an axis day one. So pretty pumped about that. So then the bow has even more of a little special place in my heart, let's say. But the point is not what harvest you get with the bow or why the bow's special to me particularly. But I wanted to break down sort of a long-term, looking back on having the bow early, using it, setting it up, hunting with it, having some success with it, and my future use and plans with that bow now. Because I know, like you guys, when I got the bow in, I looked at this thing and I was like, no way, dude. 30 inches, 6-inch brace, 3 or so inches of reflex. On paper, I totally understand why that bow is like a big no-no for people. But then you start digging in, you start asking questions, or you start looking at reviews, and you start seeing, wait a minute, there's more to this bow. Or in my case, you shoot it, and it doesn't feel like a 6-inch brace, and it surely doesn't feel like a 30-inch bow. So why is that? So I basically just want to dive in to a couple, 2 or 3 like major components that really meant a lot for me. I'm not a decorated target archer. I'm not somebody that's been hunting for decades. So I think a lot of you can relate to what I'm about to tell you in terms of why this bow is good, and it would be good for you also. A lot of the stuff in my mind with bows and bow builds and how you rig these bows out, how you build your arrows even, for me is forgiveness. If I can build in forgiveness in times of high pressure, and you're not, somebody that's just a stone cold killer in the pocket, even if you are, you're giving yourself a larger, or I guess a smaller window for failure, a larger window for success in those moments. The brace height of the bow is 6 inches. A lot of people get hung up on that. So let's break that down into the feel of the bow when you're shooting it, why it doesn't feel like 6 inches. Why does the bow group so well at 70, 80, 90, 100, God forbid, yards with a 30-inch bow? Well, it's its brace height at full draw. That bow is a 7-inch, 7.25-inch brace height at full draw, where a lot of people, and myself included, did not know this, but most bows, when you measure their brace height at full draw, it's less than what their spec sheet is at rest, right? So a 6.5-inch bow or brace height bow might be just under 6 at full draw. So that does matter in terms of hold. So I guess that's a big reason why that bow holds and points the way that it does, being as light and as short as it is. All right, weight. Where do you put your weight, right? Well, if your overall, your mass weight is higher, you have a heavier bow, obviously, but your ability to put weight in different areas is still there. It's just, you got to put more. In this case, this bow is light in the hand, 3.5 pounds. You can put it where you want it. You want to run it in your back bar, your front bar, whatever you want to run in your main, your beneath the grip spot for your stabilizer, you can. If you want to run it down in the lower bushing, you can. So there's a lot of customizing feeling to that bow that I love. But then there's the carbon thing. A lot of people are like, well, aluminum's better than carbon. Carbon's noisy. Carbon's not as stiff. It makes noise. This carbon, and I will say, I don't think all carbon is the same. I don't think you can measure all carbon against all carbon. Maybe you can, but the result's not going to be there. Whereas some of these aluminum bows, they kind of feel very similar in terms of like density and their riddance value and like how you hear the noise, the aftershock from distance. Aluminum does a good job of that. These carbon bows and the way that they're made is insane. The feeling is insane, and I love it. Another big thing I think for guys that are, I don't know, not getting into the sport, but like you're toying with stuff, you're changing up your setups, like grip. The grip of the bow and then your grip, your induced torque on the bow. 30-inch bows, they tend to be torquey. They tend to be a little bit twitchy most of the time. But again, when you have a bow that's, dynamic brace height, it's 6 inches at rest and 7 inches and more at full draw, your ability to torque that, it's not there with full draw stability. Okay, so you don't like any of that. That's fine. Typically bows, you're giving up something to gain something, right? So like speed. This bow is just a hair slower, a few feet than the Levitate was. And when the Levitate came out, that was like the fastest carbon alternative out there for anybody. It's a freak of a bow. The Mach 30 is insane. It is so smooth with the EC2 cam, it's almost ridiculous. Like people, I think, who haven't shot an EC2 don't really understand how good that cam is. It's so efficient for how smooth, how pretty much circular that cam is, which is great. It's great for feel. It's great for hunting. You get back, you're not in a jerky motion. You've got all the way up to 90% let off if you want to in those situations, like hunting situations, you want to run that. Absolutely, run it. Who cares? You could hold it forever if you wanted to. But so the cam is awesome. I've actually run that bow, both cam options available to it that would fit me, the EC2 or the E2. And I love them both. The E2 I picked up another 8 or so feet, which was great. Didn't need it. The bow was already fast enough, but that was there. And also it's a taller cam, so it widened, I guess lessened the steepness of the string angle also. So that's there, take it or leave it, but that's also an option for you. But I guess like who's the bow for? Why is there this feeling of, short bows, ew. And I think it's just the history of short bows. They just haven't been perfected. And they're just naturally, just based off of the geometry of the bow, they're just naturally not as comfortable in the string angle. They're prone to torque, and they don't tend to be as good at distance. In this bow, I think Outdoor Life is the one that put it on their YouTube page as the bow that breaks all of the rules, and it does. It breaks every single rule that there is. So can a bow be that short and point that well? It typically can't. It does. The EC2 cam, as smooth and as efficient as it should be at how smooth and comfortable it is. It is. How's the grip? Fantastic. The grip is like about a 4-degree, I guess if you guys haven't seen it, the carbon grips on PSE, it's like a 4-degree flat, flat back grip, super nice. It's so comfortable. It kind of forces your hand up into, the webbing, and you're right on that, repeatable, well, for right-handed shooters, I guess, right side of your lifeline. And I love it because, when you're in a situation where, you hook up and something's coming in, whatever you're hunting, and you gotta, get your grip in quick, and you might be in a funky situation, and at full draw, it's comfortable, it's steady. I don't think I was at full draw, now I'm thinking about it, very long with my axis, but my whitetail I was. Super long. He came in from my left side, came through and just stared basically straight while he was eating, gave me like a front shot for forever, and eventually went to step off to the left, which gave me an opportunity to stop him. But I wasn't worried about anything. I was shooting a 70-pound bow, 90% let off. Like the bow was comfortable and easy peasy. Now I personally wouldn't shoot the bow at 90%, but every mod, so 85 to 90, you're gaining like an eighth. So I was doing that to get some length out of the bow because I was hunting with that bow with EC2 cams, which max at 30 inches. And if you guys don't know, so I shoot a 31-inch draw. So my target rigs are set at 31. I don't mind hunting short though at all, as long as I'm, it's sighted and I'm grouping fine. Like I'll do that, because it kind of helps with your steep ups or your steep downs. And in whitetail, at least in my case, whitetail tree stand hunting, your steep downs is I'd rather be a little bit shorter in my anchor. So no problem. But yeah. So what does that mean? What does that mean for people? If you can't get your hands on it, it's tough because you're relying on other people to kind of give you the breakdown. But I think PJ, at Lancaster and Outdoor Life, they gave a really good explanation and really good data so that people could kind of tangibly look at and go, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. That's an easy to understand explanation to what a lot of people think. I think is, full draw stability is made up. It's not real. So he did a good job of explaining it without giving away, I guess, proprietary like engineering knowledge on why that bow is as good as it is. But if you're me and you're not an engineer, who cares? How does it feel? They could give it whatever award they want and it can do whatever it wants for them. How is it going to be for me? And for me, the bow groups incredibly well. It's light. It's easy to take places. It's easy to pack. I flew it to another state. It's a piece of cake. So I have constantly found myself grabbing that bow when given the opportunity. And it's nothing against any of my other bows. It's just, I just have a draw to something that is comfortable, light, efficient, and, I guess best of all, it looks sick. So like if nothing else, we look cool while we're missing stuff, right? But I told you guys in the beginning, or I don't know, I've had to record this thing like 6 times because my mic was just not having it today. I am going to be building a specific Mach 30 build unique for TAC. Me and SG Holmes were talking about it, and I was like, you know what? I could take my Evolve 33, and it makes sense to do it. That thing is unreal stable. But I think there's a lot of stigma around a 30-inch bow and how it performs, especially for people that are outside of that draw length. And I want to take it to a TAC event, and I want to do well with it. What better way to do that than build a Mach 30 for it? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a Mach 30. I'll do another video for you guys. I'm going to go in and try to do a better job of like telling you guys why I do what I do, how I build it, why I build it. And then obviously we'll bring the cameras, me and Stu, to TAC, and we'll take you guys along with us. But yeah, man, that's the goal. That's the plan. That's, what is that? I've had the bow now 8 months. So that's about 8 months of background for you with the bow. And I absolutely 100% keep picking that bow up. And I know come whitetail season this year, I'll be picking that bow up again. And I just, I felt like I've had the bow a pretty long time. And so this is a good opportunity to sit with you guys and let you guys know, yep, I've had it. Yep, the allure of it, the feeling of it being like, oh, it's new, it's exciting, has faded, and I still absolutely love that bow. So it's one of those things, you guys know, when you find a bow that works, it works. I think this bow has potential to work for so many more people than the people that think that it's not for them, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So give it a shot if you have the opportunity. If you're in the market, you're looking for something, you will not regret the PSE Mach 30. So until we do that next bow build, I will see you guys in the next one.